Okay, let's see here. Let's see what we got going on. What's going on? What the news going on? Anybody remember that from The Truth Setting You Free? What's going on? Let's see here. Uh-oh. Magic powers. Oh, you... stupid phone! I hate you, phone. I hate you, phone. All I want to do... You stupid phone. Let's see here. Hold on to what you got here. I'm just letting the Twitterverse know what I'm doing. Let's see. Wish this stuff still worked automated, but it don't. Come on, stupid phone. I really hate cell phones. Nothing. Smartphones suck, that's all. They don't react, they're slow. You click on something, it doesn't want to click on it. You're trying to paste something, it won't paste. The usual stupid bullshit. The Alaskan dude. What's going on, 7th? Hope your day is good. My day has been great. Thank you so much. Alaskan dude. I wonder where he's from. 2 whole viewers. Well, that was worth signing in for, I tell you what. Come on, guys. Get in here. This is the period of time that I take just to get everything set up. And make sure everything's working right for you. Come on now. Everybody hop on board. We don't have a national crisis going on tonight, so there shouldn't be any excuses for not showing up tonight. Come on, meow. Let's go. Get in the chat and let's get it going. Let's get some dialogue started. We're going to talk about some stuff, and then we're going to talk about some other stuff. But none of that can start until everybody logs in. 8th was in here for a second, but he's gone back to his room. Or, I should say, one of his rooms. He has the upper wing, and I have the lower wing. Y'all will get a taste for it as soon as we got everything squared away the way we want it. I will film it. You will see it. There's still just a couple more things to do. And even then, there's 2 big things left that I want to do that I'm not going to have the money to do for a while anyway. And that's 1, replace that TV back behind me with a new TV. Possibly a little bit bigger, but more than likely the same size. And over there, I need to buy a new multicade. Because my multicade ain't working, and 8th and his buddy are going to make a pet project out of it and completely redo it from the ground up. But that means I'm going to need a new one, and I'm going to go to one of these companies that builds them, and I'm going to get a custom one done with all the artwork that I want, which I want to get one with a Tron theme, so it'll react to all the black lighting I got going on in here. I want it with, 4-player capable with light guns and all of it, nice 50-inch screen, the works. I want to get the works, which is probably going to cost me about $6,000, which I currently don't have and won't have for a while. But that's the last big thing, and then this room is pretty much set up. 8th has a couple of things still coming for his room up there before it's ready to go. And then at some point, he wants to replace his TV in there too with something a little bit bigger. So I think right now he's got like a 50-inch in there. And I think he's wanting to go up to like a 70, like a 65 or a 70. Hi, video game lover. So that's what's going on. But other than that, we pretty much have everything more or less where we want it. I want to get some kind of lighting on that wall. I haven't decided what kind of lighting to get over there, but I want something to kind of light this up to where there's more than just monitor light illuminating my face. The retro gaming area has all that black light stuff set up. This little corner has nothing. So I want to get something to go on that, some kind of lighting to go on that wall. I want to keep this wall bare because I'm intending to use it as a place to hang additional action figures as I add to my action figure collection. But this, I want some kind of lighting right here. I just haven't decided what kind. But I'd like to have some kind of a black lighting thing there, but we'll see. We'll see. Other than that, just need to finish hanging some of my posters. We still got probably 10 or 11 posters to hang up. I'll come on 7th. You want me to stay here to ask you questions? I have a script I need to finish. Well, that's up to you, I guess, man. If I'm not compelling enough for you to stay around, you're free to head off. It's your Saturday. It's your Saturday, Dark Star. I can't stop you. I cannot stop you. That's all on you. I mean, I wish I had the $6,000 to go ahead and buy the multicade, so I'd already have my multicade set up and my pinball machine set up, but alas, all I have set up is the pinball machine. So when I have $6,000 to buy a multicade, I'll be sure to get right on that because I already know who I'm going to buy it from, and I've already got all the options and everything I want for it picked out. It's just a matter of having the money to plonk down on it. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I already know what kind of TV I'm going to replace that one with. I mean, that one's working okay, but some of its light balancing is off because it's an old LED, and the little things they put on the LEDs broke off, so some of the image is bluer than it should be. That's where we're at with it. Anyway, it is Saturday, 6 o'clock, July 20th, 2024, and this is the 7th Cast. Greetings and salutations. As always, I'm your venerable host, your friendly neighborhood 7th. 8th is upstairs. He may show up in the chat tonight. He may not. I know not. I do not know. It's quite possible. You never can tell with 8th. He's like Bigfoot. Sometimes he makes an appearance. Sometimes he does not. That's just the way it is. So how is everybody going? I see that people are still taking their sweet time getting logged in. I can see that. Hello, Blaze the Cat Man. I'll wait a couple more minutes for people to get in before I start telling you about how I spent my day today. My day has gone pretty good so far. But since it's just 6:01 and we only have 7 viewers in here, I'll wait a couple more minutes before I start telling you how my day went. I can count on one hand the amount of times I've seen 8th eat jerky, Ultra Steel. He's not that big a fan. He used to like it a lot. There was a particular brand of teriyaki jerky that he liked at Walmart, and he used to get that stuff by the bag all the time. And then at one point, he just stopped eating it. I think he got burnt out on it. But the point about 8th and Bigfoot is that, like Bigfoot, you never know when he might appear, when he might step out from behind a tree or from around a corner. You just never know with 8th. He could very well come in here and sit in his recliner right there for the whole 7th cast. But then again, you may go months without ever seeing him face to face. He might be in the chat. He might not be in the chat. He might be up there watching a movie or playing a game while we stream in his own game room upstairs. He may not. You just never know. No, I've never lost any of my teeth. I did get a little piece of one chipped off one time when a kid karate kicked me in the face. And I had to get that sanded down. But I think I was around 8 or 9 when that happened. But I've never actually lost teeth or had to have any pulled. I haven't had to have any pulled. I may eventually have to because I've got impacted wisdom teeth that are like at an angle like this so they won't come straight down and come out. And they've been like that for, decades. And I've just never bothered to get anything done with them because it doesn't hurt. There's no pain up there, so it doesn't bother me, so I don't do anything about it. But I may eventually have to. You never know. You never know. If it was up to me, I'd get, and I had the money, I'd get some of those boogie teeth. I'd just have all my chompers pulled out and get me some of them fake boogie teeth. So I'd look like Max Headroom when I talked. That's what I'd do. Just because I imagine those are easier to clean than your real teeth. There's a lot of maintenance that goes into keeping your chompers clean. I went off on a weird tangent there, didn't I? All right, well, it looks like people are going to be slow to join again like they were last week. I can't imagine why. There's no major crisis that just happened to start right when I started streaming like last week. So I don't know where everyone is, but okay. Hi, 7th. Congrats on your new home. How do you like it so far? It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. As you can see, I have plenty of room for all my stuff. And my neighbors are... I haven't run into a single one who is a pain in the butt yet. They are all very nice. And we're pretty close to everything that we could possibly need. There's just the little matter of us being in the very bottom tip of Tornado Alley. So hopefully one of those don't come near me anytime soon again, like they almost did right before we moved in here. I think Ultra Steel said, 7th, speaking of which, what do you think of all the boogie and density drama? Well, I don't think there can be anything additionally done about Boogie's density, Ultra Steel. He's pretty dense, both physically and otherwise. I think you meant Destiny there, Ultra Steel. And Destiny's a piece of crap who, has gotten himself a Wikipedia PhD and thinks because he can look it up on the internet, that makes him an expert. The guy that likes the smell of his own farts. And, I've never cared for that type. I just find him irritating and an annoying little weakling beta male who sat and watched his wife get railed by another dude. And I think he's a joke, and I don't want to. I don't want to have to think about Destiny any more than I possibly have to. I don't know why anyone takes him seriously about anything. What are your thoughts of Japan working on meds to regrow teeth? How about they work on meds to regrow cells so you don't age? How about that? Happy birthday, Clean Frame. Many happy returns. Evo is happening. I have no idea what you're talking about. What is Evo? Are you talking about is that some kind of online gaming competitors thing? Most of the people that watch me aren't into that crap, so I can't imagine that be affecting anything. Hello, Malik. How's it going, Malik? Star Child in a Bubble says, glad to hear it. Yes, yes, yes. Biggest fighting game tournament. Like I said, the only person that watches me that would probably be interested in a fighting game tournament is Titanfall Princess, and she hasn't logged on to watch my stream in forever. So Destiny is an insufferable brat. You're not wrong. Do you watch basketball? What do you think of Caitlin Clark drama? No, I do not watch basketball. I have not watched basketball since Jordan retired. I just didn't see the point after that. I stuck around long enough to see him get his last championship ring, and that was enough for me. Sup, Mr. 7th. Hello, Stevie Boy XRP. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Why is my donation goal missing? There we go. Man, my stuff just acts weird all the time. I'm constantly having to fix stuff. Stupid Streamlabs. Stupid OBS crap. Anyway, if anyone wants to donate, use this link up here. www.streamlabs.com/7thlevelreviews. That way, the money that you want me to have, I get 99% of it, and I get it same day. I love you if all you can do is do the gray button with the $sign on it, the super chats. But I only get 70% of those, and I have to wait a month to get them. I love y'all. You can donate. You don't have to donate. It's whatever y'all want to do. Everything that y'all donate goes to improving this show and improving any videos that I have planned. And I have videos planned. I'm just trying to figure out how to do them. Because I'm not an artist, and unlike Tyler, who apparently had his entire childhood filmed, I did not, because my parents were too poor for a camcorder up until the point that I was 17 years old. And so most of my childhood was not filmed, so I don't have footage of the things that I want to talk about in the new video series that I want to do, which is a documentary series similar to Trey for Life, but more about personal things with me related to gaming. And I don't have a way of producing footage that goes along with the things I want to talk about. And I'm not a cartoon artist, so I can't draw cartoons depicting the stuff. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm actually going to do this thing. And I don't really want to do like AI, and say, create me a scene of an 80s teenage boy walking through an arcade. I don't want to do that because it's going to steal from other artists to generate that art. I think even if you tried to use Luna, it would do the same thing. It would steal from other artists to try to generate that little clip that you want. So I don't know how to do it right now. And that's why there haven't been any vids, because there's only one type of vid I want to do right now, and I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to pull it off. I have scripts written. I just don't know how to put it together to where it's not just going to be something, me talking over still photos. I don't want that. I want something a little better than that. And on top of that, I'm not really good at effects and editing, zooming things in and flipping things around and all that. I'm good at cutting and editing, but adding effects, I suck at it. And I can't pay an editor to do that kind of crap for me because I'm not popular enough to have that kind of money. Anyway, I did say that I would talk about what I did today. Me and 8th went to see Twisters. It is a Twister movie. Absolutely. There were things I liked about it. There were things that I didn't like about it. I think 8th probably liked it a little bit better than me. And that's, I think maybe I'm a little bit of a bigger fan of the original than he is. The things I really liked about it, it had excellent sound design. There were several scenes where as long as you're in a theater that has an audio system that supports it, there are elements of it where you will feel like a twister is going right over the roof of the building you're in. It's really effective. Very well done. I liked the actors that were in it, as far as actors. The special effects for the twisters, very well done. Definitely leaps and bounds above what they were able to do in '96. Way more realistic. Way more realistic. That being said, the ending, not so much realistic. Even more unrealistic than the ending of the original one. But as for things that I didn't like, aside from the two main characters, I didn't care for any of the characterizations. I liked the acting. I liked the actors, but there wasn't anything there to get me invested in these characters, like in the first one. You know, all the characters in the first one were great. Can't say the same thing here. There are some real non-entities in this that you just don't really care one way or another what happens to them. I'm just saying. The music sucks. Its score sucks and is really generic. You know, Twister had its own theme that recurs throughout the whole film. It was a great thematic score. Anytime you hear it, you know what movie it's from. This one does not have that. Does not have that. It's very generic. You would. It's almost the score is so generic you'd almost think it was AI generated. The music sucks. The soundtrack, because back in the '90s, a lot of it with Twister, it was Van Halen and a bunch of rock and cool rock music and whatnot. This was all like modern country. It was terrible. I was like, modern country. No. But those were the biggest things for me. The characters just weren't as relatable. They weren't as fun. There wasn't as much comedy because of that. You only really cared about two of them. And there were slower parts of it. It dragged more than the original. The original just felt, you had a couple of breaks, like when they went to the aunt's house, to hang out and have breakfast and whatnot. You had a couple of scenes like that were mainly rapport building and whatnot. But this movie has long sequences where it's not so much rapport building, it's just explaining the scientific principles behind what they're wanting to do and stuff like that. And, let's stop and have some more about the backstory and that kind of thing. And it's too much in too large a chunks. It needed to be split up more to give it more even pacing, because it really slows things down when it stops to do one of these. And Twister kept that short, the original. And honestly, while there were some really great action sequences, you could tell that a lot more of it was done CG instead of practical, whereas the original movie was a mix of both. And so it kind of shows. There's not really anything in it that compares to the scene, for instance, where Bill drives his truck through a house that's rolled onto the road. There's nothing that compares to that scene with the 18-wheeler falling and blowing up and all that. Nothing that compares to it in the film. Nada. There's no cow scene, cow, nothing like that. There's one scene where dude slams into a truck of like a crate of chickens, and then after the tornado passes, a rooster lands on the hood of the car. That's as close to cow as we get. So it's definitely worth watching. It's definitely worth watching. I will definitely own it when it comes out on 4K Blu-ray. But it's not as good as the first one. Not even close. It doesn't even have a real villain in it. Like Cary Elwes, or however his name is pronounced. Doesn't even Doesn't even have a villain to it like that. I mean, they try to kind of sort of set one up, but nothing comes of it. That guy, the guy that I'm referring to, he just kind of disappears from the film, and you never see him again. You know, he doesn't blow up like the villain in Twister did. You know, nothing like that happens. He just drops out of the plot. Mr. P. Flow. Who's Mr. P. Flow? Can you rattle off some Game of the Year contenders so far? I'm still thinking about that. I mean, you got to realize my tastes are different. You know, so far my favorite game this year has been the System Shock remake. You know, not exactly Game of the Year material when it's just a remake of a pre-existing game. Another one that I would consider is Sandland. I really love Sandland. 7th, from what you know about Boogie as of now, do you think he can technically solve his problem if he just works? I don't think he's going to work. His real world work skills are in web design, but it's web design from 15, 20 years ago. And he hasn't bothered to update his skill set. So I highly doubt he'd be able to go back to doing what he was doing before and make money off of it. He doesn't have any other working skills, you know, aside from maybe, you know, standing at the entranceway of Costco. Welcome to Costco. I love you. That's about all he'd be able to do. And, you know, with all the health problems he has, he wouldn't be able to stand there like that. I doubt they'd let him sit in a scooter and be a greeter. You know, welcome to Walmart. I doubt it. Are you looking forward to Deadpool? I haven't seen a movie in theaters for a couple of years. Well, I do have tickets, but the problem being is, as it turns out, you know, I have tickets to go see it with 8th next Saturday morning. The problem being is that all next week is my on-call week at work. So, and I have an appointment Saturday that I have to take care of. And so at this point, what I'm hoping is that I don't get any calls Saturday. Because if I do, it's going to interrupt a bunch of different things, potentially. Well, I just talked about Twisters. If we're steak and eggs in the new remake, no. In fact, there was only 2 references to the original film at all. There's one scene where the main character has been out of storm chasing for 5 years, and she gets coerced into coming back, and they're standing in front of a motel, and the guy that talked her into coming back says, "Welcome back," and she says, "I'm not back," which was quoting Bill. The other reference is the movie starts 5 years in the past, where they're all college students getting their degrees in meteorology and whatnot, and so they've borrowed some equipment from the college, the university, and one of the pieces of equipment that they borrowed from the university is one of the original Dorothy units from the first film. Doesn't explain who designed it, doesn't explain why the university had it, just explains that it's old tech, but it still works, and that's it. No one ever mentions any of the other characters from the first film or the events of the first film, nothing. You'd think, there was a scene where the movie kind of stops, and the main character, she goes back home to visit with her mom. And I have a feeling they wanted Helen Hunt to be her mom, but Helen Hunt refused to do it because she had her own script for Twister 2 that she was trying to get going, and everyone crapped on it and didn't want to make it. And they went and made this one instead. So I have a feeling this girl was initially meant to be the daughter of Helen and Bill's characters. And, of course, Bill was dead, and Helen Hunt said, "Are you crazy?" And so they just, replaced her with another actress, and didn't do any of the stuff connecting her to the original characters. But it feels that way when you watch it. It feels like that's who she was meant to be, but she's not, because she has that same almost supernatural intuition about where the twister's going to be, like Bill did in the first one. So, and she dresses like Helen Hunt's character a lot. She has kind of the same attitude as Helen Hunt's character. So to me, it feels like, at one point she was meant to be their daughter, and then for whatever reason they decided not to do that. No, I'm not the screw up that downed all the flights. That was some cybersecurity software app. How do you like the Boogie documentary that came out sometime? Well, I mean, it was entertaining, but, a lot of it was BS. You didn't get much gaming time in this year because of the move. Well, because of the move and because of my job. Let's hope the second half provides you with some time. Well, I'll definitely get some time in December. Because I get off. My vacation starts on the 17th, and I don't go back until January 2nd. It's like 2 straight weeks. Let's see. How much money do you think CrowdStrike will get sued for? They could very well go out of business. Everything is a remake nowadays. 80 and 90s are undefeated. Any new IP out nowadays sucks. Well, there's some new stuff that I've liked. Most of it's been horror stuff, like Long Legs. The Conjuring. I like the Conjuring movies. They're a fairly new IP, if you think about it. 10 years old, that's pretty new by today's standards. I came in late last week. Did you already talk about the situational disability fiasco? Yeah, it's just a joke. Just shows she doesn't know how to... if she was speaking out of her own experience, which I don't think she has any kids, at least not that I know of, just a lack of parental skills. Now, as long as your kid is awake, you are on parent duty. You want to play video games and they're not old enough to play with you? Wait till they go to bed and then play games. It's that simple. It's not hard to do. Which one did I like more? What, you mean between Twister and Twisters? The original. The original just... It was better balanced. The characters were more relatable. You got into the characters more. The soundtrack was way better. The score was way better. The new one has pluses, and improvements, but it just doesn't hold up. I mean, in some ways, I liked that found footage movie Into the Storm better than Twisters, in some ways. I mean, Twister was one of the best movies in the 90s, really. It was one of my favorites. There was just that period from like 1996 on where it was just fire hit after fire hit after fire hit. You had Men in Black, you had Independence Day, you had Twister going up into 1999, you had The Matrix, The Mummy. That period was a great period. I'm not saying it was better than the 80s, but it was a great period. But yeah, if you were planning, if you were kind of on the fence about going to see it, definitely go see it. It's a great summer movie. I'm just saying that if you're wanting to see it because you're a big fan of the original film, I don't think it's going to get there for you. Because there's really just, because of the fact that she is not their daughter, there's really nothing linking it to the first one of any substance anyway. And honestly, I do not know how feasible their little plan is in the movie. I don't want to spoil it, but they have this hypothesis of a technique where they could cause a tornado to just die within seconds. I have no idea if any of the science in it is feasible or not. I'm leaning towards not, because I feel if it was feasible, we'd already have people out there doing it now. But, are there any upcoming movies you're excited about? Well, like I said, me and Nate are going to see Deadpool and Wolverine next week. But I don't think there's anything that's been announced after that we particularly care about. Do you adhere to the concept that video games should be more than fun? For instance, I don't find horror, suspense, or thriller games fun per se, but I can find the entertainment value in them. It depends on the genre. You don't play Super Mario Brothers for the nuanced plot. You get what I'm saying? You play it for the fun. Yeah, a lot of the big movies in the 90s were event films. And you had all the product placement, the toys, the video games, the collectibles at the fast foods places. People lined up around the block waiting to watch it at the theater. I remember when I went, now of course this technically wasn't 90s, it was the tail end of the 80s, but I remember going to see Batman, and we didn't even go see it the opening weekend. We waited like the weekend after, and the lobby of the theater was absolutely full to capacity. There was no walking room in the lobby. There was just standing room. And they had overbooked the theaters, and so despite fire code, they had people sitting in the floor of the aisles or standing and leaning against the wall watching the movie because there was no seats left. The only other time I saw anything like that was Independence Day. Even when I went to see Phantom Menace on opening weekend, it wasn't like that. I got tickets to Phantom Menace like that. It took me 2 weeks to get tickets to Independence Day. People don't seem to remember how much of a phenomenon Independence Day was. Yeah, it was selling so well that people were calling it the Star Wars of its generation. It was the biggest moneymaker of that year. And I kind of wish that the second one had done better so that we would get the third film that is teased at the end of that one. That we're going to go into space and take the battle to them. I wish it had done well enough to where we'll get that movie. We're not going to get that movie because Resurgence bombed. And why did it? What's the main reason it bombed? Because it didn't have Will Smith in it. For whatever reason, Will Smith wouldn't sign up for Independence Day 2, which is pretty funny because his movie career had kind of wound down by then. Are you skeptical about the new Beetlejuice movie? Yes, I am. And one of the reasons I am is because it's obvious watching the trailer that it was filmed all digitally. It's not filmed on 35 millimeter like the original, which that's true of a lot of movies, but they didn't do anything to give it back that cinematic look of a 35 millimeter film. And so it's too clean, and it makes it look like one of these movies that was made for direct-to-video. It's hard to describe what I mean. Back several years ago, you go see a movie in the theater. It was filmed on 35 millimeter film. It looked cinematic. It looked like a movie. Then you'd go and rent something from the Asylum. It was filmed all digitally, and it looked like an episode of the Power Rangers. Do you get what I'm saying? And now a lot of theatrical movies look that way because they're all being filmed with digital cameras, and they're not doing anything with the lighting or the post-production to get it back to having that cinematic look. And so everything ends up looking like it's made for video. and I hate it. And Beetlejuice has that look, at least in the trailer. It just annoys me. Absolutely annoys me. But anyway, I've got to figure out how I'm going to depict these videos that I want to do when I don't have any art skills, I don't have any animation skills, and I don't really want to use AI because it steals artwork from other existing artists. So I don't. This is the only series I really want to do, and I don't know how to do it. On top of that, I want to. We've talked about this for a year now. I want to do the membership thing, set up the membership thing, but I don't know what kind of tiers to set up, and I don't know what to offer as far as those tiers go. I mean, the main thing that I'm going to do is create a private Discord so that members can have access to the Discord and maybe do like a monthly thing where we sit in Discord and watch a movie together. But I don't know how to do that without getting in any kind of copyright trouble. I mean, obviously that's not something that would be streamed on the channel. That would just be something done on the private Discord server. But I don't know how to make that work. So I have to do some research to find out how to do that. I've never done that before. I've never had a movie party on Discord. I don't know how to do it. I'm only going to watch the Borderlands movie in support of the games. I get the feeling they showed a trailer for Borderlands when we went to see Twisters. It looked terrible. It looked awful. It looked like something the people that made Sharknado might have made. I'm not kidding. So, I want... The main channel plans is I want to set up a membership, but I want to do it in a way that, is not a greedy thing, that there's actual reasons why you'd want to have it. But that involves, amping up the content too. And I'm not going to open up a membership when I can't make the content I want to make. I want to do this series, but I haven't figured out a way to make it work structurally, because it has a lot to do with things of the past that aren't going to have corresponding footage out there. It's not even going to have, in some cases, it won't even have photographs where I could just show a still shot photograph and talk over it. And so it's just a matter of trying to figure out how I'm going to depict this stuff without relying on some kind of AI system that's going to just be regurgitating other people's art styles. Seventh, you want to stream movies on a stream with people, consider trying on Locals. I've seen people do it without trouble. I'm not familiar with Locals. I'll have to look into that. Does Disney Plus have better options than other streaming services? Not really. Not really, because the vast majority of what's on Disney Plus is Hulu stuff and National Geographic crap and made-for-TV movies from the Disney Channel. That's most of what's on Disney Plus. Yes, most of the Disney Vault is on there. So if you're a big fan of the old Disney animated movies, then sure, there's lots to love there, because that means you can watch, Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, all you could possibly ever want. You could watch Bambi over and over and over again, and watch Bambi's mom get shot off screen over and over and over again. You could do that with Disney Plus. but most of what's on there is filler. Kind of like how when HBO Max merged with Discovery, and all of a sudden 90% of what's on HBO Max is home improvement reality shows. No thanks. Will you be seeing Joker 2 in theaters? I think not. I saw the trailer for it. I was not impressed. Eighth will probably go see it with his friends. Hi, Master Chief. What do you mean long time no see? You were in here a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I don't give a crap about Discovery Channel, man. Have you already talked about the price increase for Game Pass? What's your thoughts on Microsoft breaking the promise? I don't remember them ever promising that Game Pass would always stay at the same price. I couldn't tell you the last time I played anything off of Game Pass. It was before I moved here. Yes, Hulu and Disney Plus merged. I just don't know, man. I just don't know. I know my my PlayStation Plus is coming up for renewal, and I don't know if I'm going to keep the level of it that I currently have, because I don't really use the game library for it that much. I mainly use it for the monthly free games, and that's it. Every now and again, I'll download like a PSP game and play it, and that's about all I use it for. And the same thing with Game Pass. I don't know if I'm going to keep Game Pass because I barely use it. I don't. Game Pass, I think, is currently costing me like $17.99 a month, something like that. My Game Pass is monthly. My PlayStation, my PSN is annual. It's once a year, and it's getting ready to come up. I'm thinking about switching it to monthly so it doesn't hit me so strongly, even though ultimately that would cost me more per year. And I'm thinking about lowering it to like just closer to a basic plan because I don't use a lot of that stuff. I don't use it. You know, I play games mostly off disc. Right now, I'm very, very slowly making my way through Baldur's Gate 3, and at the same time playing System Shock Remake. I own those on disc. I just don't really download and play that much off of PlayStation Network. Yeah, Bill, I may downgrade to PS Essentials. Next week, I got to find somewhere in this area to get my car inspected so I could get my license tag renewed. That'll be another $100 right there. That'll be another $100. But the good thing about it is that starting next year, Texas will no longer require you to have your car inspected. So you can just renew your tag online instead of having to take your car to get inspected and then get your tag renewed. So that'll save me, 20 bucks or $30 it'll cost to get it inspected and having to take time to drive up and have it done. Right now I'm working at a new restaurant which is Japanese cuisine after I quit working Subway Sama. Okay. Day one AAA titles like Call of Duty will be available on a much more expensive tier on Game Pass. Huh. Okay. How do you like the System Shock remake? I didn't know that game was from the 90s, but how does the gameplay hold up? The gameplay's been modernized somewhat. At its core, it plays like the original. They've just enhanced it. The graphics looks like the original, only more modern. It's an addictive game once you get going. It's a very addictive game. And of course, it's the it and its sequel are the precursors of the System Shock series, but it doesn't have all the humor and the NPCs that System Shock did, because everyone on the space station has been basically turned into a Borg. Yeah, it came out on PC first, Bill. It took a while for it to get on consoles. I'm not sure if the question I asked was already answered in the explanations you gave. What's your top game in your backlog that you want to play? Tales from Arise? Grand Blue Fantasy? Take your pick. I like the 90s hacker culture stuff, I think. Yeah, it definitely had that in it. We even got a movie called Hackers, which I heard was crap. As far as being realistic, yes, it's crap. As far as being a fun movie, it's great. You should watch it. Magic powers. No Ultra Steel, but, there's nothing glitching. It's just sometimes when you've got people like Bill that post 3 messages at once, it causes it to scroll up really fast, and I don't necessarily see what you say. I mean, look at the screen right now and see how many posts are from Bill Bones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 posts from Bill on here, and so that causes a lot of other stuff to scroll up, and I don't necessarily see it. So let me scroll up, Ultra Steel. 7th, you said you've seen ghosts before, but do you believe in some seafaring folklore like ghost ships or the Flying Dutchman? Not really. Not really. Could a VR title be Game of the Year in 2024? I guess it's feasible, but considering how small the audience is, I don't know. Kind of doubt it. Ratchet and Clank Size Matters. It's a good game. It's a good game. It's better with full dual stick support, which it didn't have on the PSP. But it's a good game. Well, not on my screen, Bill. Not at the time. I had to scroll up to see it. So I'm kind of out of... hi, Ben. I'm kind of out of topics at this point. I already talked about what I want to do with the channel and what my challenges are right now. I already talked about Twisters, so what do y'all want to talk about? Because we got 2 hours and 15 minutes to go. Always seems to end up that way, don't it? Always seems to end up that way. You're asking Clean Frame if I've ever sharted while on the 7thCast. No. No. I've never sharted on the 7thCast. I missed that on the future of the channel. I don't see how. You were here. I talked about wanting to set up a membership that was going to have a private Discord, doing movie watch parties and stuff like that. Talked about wanting to do this documentary series that has to do with gaming memories of mine from my childhood and teenage years, but that I don't really have a way to do the footage for them, and so I don't know how I'm going to do them, and that's why there hasn't been a lot in the way of new videos, etc., etc. Hey, 7th, if you have the infamous Suicide Squad game, would you do a Don't Buy This? I don't have that game, Master Chief. If one of y'all wants to donate a copy and buy it for me, I'll review it. I'll do a DBTS for it. but I'm not spending money on that because it's live service, and I refuse to spend money on live service games. I did it with that Babylon Falls game because I got it cheap, and I thought it'd be funny to review it. Do you think Sony would be successful with a new handheld system? Probably not. Are you a fan of Hulk Hogan? I was when I was a kid, not so much nowadays. You want me to talk about movies more, Bill? Noted. Have you beat Baldur's Gate 3 yet? Not even close. Not even close. I lead a very hectic life. Like I said, like for instance, next week I'm going to be on 24-hour on-call. Starting from Monday afternoon all the way to the following Monday morning. I will be on 24-hour on-call. Or it doesn't matter how late it is. Somebody runs into some problem with the financial system. My phone's going to ring and wake me up. And I'm going to have to hop on my laptop and figure out what's going on and fix it. 24-hour on, we're on a rotation. So it's like every fifth week I'm on it. Every fifth week. Joy. Not looking forward to that. Nope. Seventh, does 8 PvP or co-op in Elden Ring? I know he does co-op with his friends in Elden Ring. I don't think he goes out of his way to do PvP. I just know that anytime someone tries to invade his game, he kills them rather quickly and then moves on with his day. 7th, did you ever see Fat Albert? Would have taken more interest in the franchise if I didn't find out who created it. I watched the original cartoon when I was little. And at one point I did watch the movie with Kenan Thompson. I wasn't very impressed with it. Is Alice in Wonderland the most bizarre good movie you've seen? That's very subjective. For one thing, you'd have to clarify which version of Alice in Wonderland you're talking about, because there's been multiple Alice movies. And I can think of a lot of bizarre movies that I've enjoyed more than any version of Alice in Wonderland. Case in point, Big Trouble in Little China. Have you done something like that before in your company? Done something like what before in my company? Are they giving you extra pay for extra work? No, I'm salary. I don't get overtime. And I don't get an on-call shift differential either. Thoughts on Richard Simmons' death? He died. Do I look like I was a fan of Richard Simmons? When I was a kid, I just thought he was Mr. Goodbody without the bodysuit on. Bill Cosby coming out of court one time and doing the hey was pretty creepy. I bet it was pretty creepy. What is the scariest, goriest movie in your opinion? I don't think they're both go together, Blaze. Scariest probably be something like The Exorcist or Exorcist 3 or something like that. Goriest would probably be one of Peter Jackson's early movies called Dead Alive. The unrated version of that. Oh, the 24-hour on-call? Yeah, I've been on-call before. It's not the first time. I don't really feel it's needed, per se. But it's what the company wants, so it is what it is. Seventh, how do you think the Wizard of Oz film holds up specifically? Do you think the old classic brown-white movie age? I think it's fine. I think it's fine. All you got to do is sit kids down in front of it, and as long as parents haven't derpified them by, sticking a tablet in their hand the minute they turn 2, as long as their parents haven't done that to them yet, you can sit them down in front of Wizard of Oz, and they're captivated just like kids from my generation were. Younger kids, they don't care when a movie was made, and they don't care how realistic the effects are or are not. All they care about is if it entertains them. But then you've got the kids that, their parents have turned them into little ADHD monsters by handing them tablets when they were toddlers. So now they're constantly addicted to the little brain chemical rush of clicking on something and getting a result. So they have the attention span and the memory retention of a gnat. Why? Crappy parents, that's why. Hey, Seventh, do you like the Mummy films? Yes, except for the third one. Third one was kind of crappy. I miss the creator of Dragon Ball series, Akira Toriyama, due to his death. Well, yeah, he died a few weeks ago. Or a couple of months ago, or whenever it was. Sorry, my concept of the last lapse of time is greatly affected right now because it's very rare, aside from going to a movie with Eighth, that I leave this room. And as you can see, it's internally lit. I don't really have that much of a concept between daylight and daybreak, aside from the light coming in through the cracks of the window behind the drapes. So, I'm a bit of a shut-in because I work from home. So, it's one of the ways I'm able to afford all of this. I don't spend a lot on car maintenance. I don't spend a lot on gas. Because of the fact that I don't drive very, very much, my car insurance is really cheap. Is what it is. I mean, I haven't even been on a real vacation since 2015. Closest thing to a vacation I've taken was going to Retropalooza twice a year, and I didn't even do it this year because I knew I was going to have to buy a house. I'm not going to get to go to Retropalooza in October because I won't have the money for a hotel. I have the time off because I scheduled it before I knew I was going to have to buy a house. But I ain't going to have the money to go. It sucks because now it's just 2 hours away from me. It's just 2 hours north. All I'd have to do is hit Highway 35, head north for 2 hours. I'd be there. Don't have a place to stay. Don't have any money. Fried dopamine receptors straight out of the womb. Exactly. Did the Long Legs film have a bad ending in your opinion? Yes. Seventh, believe it or not, that dopamine problem you mentioned is why society and the dating scene is currently screwed. Everyone wants short-term pleasure, short-term gratification of any type. That's why a lot of things are going on right now. I mean, have you noticed all these different divergent social things going on? The furries and the non-binary and the trans and all of that stuff. I have this mental disorder. I have that mental disorder. I have this plethora of disorders that make me so special, and I'm going to talk about them on social media. All of that stuff. It all started right when social media exploded with Twitter and Instagram and especially TikTok. Do you think that's a coincidence? That prior to those platforms coming out, you didn't have uh, this rush of parents that are wanting to put their kids on hormone blockers. You didn't have this rush of kids that, I'm a furry Ken, I'm another Ken, I'm a dragon, and I'm going to eat my mom's jewelry. You didn't have any of that. You didn't have this explosion of, every third kid in the class identifies as trans in some form or another. You didn't have it. And no one is questioning that. No one is saying, is there possibly some kind of correlation because this kind of thing simply didn't occur before the explosion of instant gratification social media? That's what people are talking about when every now and again you see someone talking about social contagion. And there's examples, if you want to go look them up, of people who intentionally influence kids to want to do this. I'm not a tremendous fan of his channel, but Turkey Tom alone has done documentaries about people who have been caught doing this kind of stuff and influencing young'uns, convincing them that this is what they are and what they want. So it's not like it doesn't exist. We have people that in public have admitted to doing it. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that body dysmorphia doesn't exist. It certainly does. There's been multiple cases of it. People that, for whatever reason, suddenly wake up one morning and decide that that their leg isn't really their leg, and it feels like they have some alien appendage attached to them, and none of the doctors in the U.S. will do anything, so they fly down to Mexico to get their leg cut off, and then all of a sudden they're happy. Body dysmorphia exists. There is such a thing as hermaphroditism. That really exists. Black Metal Gamer donated $1 through Super Chat. Thank you, Black Metal Gamer. I appreciate it. Here you go. Dollar bill, y'all. I just think I don't want to delve into politics too heavily here. I just think that in a lot of ways, I don't think social media should have progressed beyond YouTube and Facebook, because it seems like everything else that came after it has just made society that much worse and worse and worse from one day to the next. I just avoid social media websites. Yeah, Twitter's pretty much the only. I don't have a TikTok. I don't have. All I have is Twitter. I have a Facebook, but I don't use it. I mainly use my Facebook just to do direct messaging to old friends of mine that still live in Tennessee, and that's all I really use it for. I don't remember which Turkey Tom video it was, but he did a video. All I remember is the guy's avatar was of a clown. His avatar was of a clown, and he was running some really nasty stuff, including like CP and nasty ass shit like that. And one of the things that he was doing was he was sharing on his Discord methods for grooming teens into becoming trans and convincing them to get on hormones and stuff. And they have all of this documented. And I can't remember the guy's name, but all I remember is that he had the avatar of a clown. See you later, Master Chief. Seventh, any interest in grabbing Alan Wake now that it's physical? Alan Wake 2? Maybe. Maybe. Do you prefer your vegetables raw or cooked? Depends on the vegetable. What was your thoughts about the Area 51 rating back in 2019, and what do you think is in Area 51? I don't really think there's anything in Area 51 besides some aircraft testing going on. I had a friend that was a U.S. Marshal that had friends that worked at Area 51, and he said, "Oh, well, there was some really spooky stuff there, but most of the spooky stuff was moved to a different location back in the 60s." Wait a minute. Magic powers. YouTube drama is so cringe and manufactured. Yeah, this whole thing with Boogie and all that. You know, so much of it feels like a work to me. I could be wrong, but that's what it feels like to me. It feels like a work. It feels scripted. And I'm not saying that, like, you know, Mudahar and Destiny and all these others that have Mr. Medicare were all scripted and in on it. What I'm saying is that it feels like, you know, Boogie and Keem sat down and it's like, what could we really do to generate a lot of traffic? What could we do to really piss people off? What if we kind of leaked some stuff in such a way as to get some of these drama YouTubers to think that you faked having cancer or something like that. And that it's all just basically a big troll against the commentary community. I'm not saying that's what happened, but it certainly feels that way. I don't like broccoli at all, Ultra Steel. Hey, Soul Drift. Yeah, it has been a while. I don't really follow Chris Chan I never did, but you know, I'm going out of my way to not know anything about him any more than is absolutely necessary. Skipped my question or my Wi-Fi on the fritz. Have you ever let a video game pass you by for any reason or another? Well, yeah, if it's just something that doesn't interest me. I don't play, I couldn't tell you, I've never played a Dragon Ball game because I don't care about Dragon Ball. Too much X-Files. Bill Bones, because it is, bro. You're not dumb. Keemstar is milking the locale angle, and Boogie is living it to the hilt to be his best cash cow to generate interest from drama queens. Could be. Could be. Is drama YouTube the modern day reality TV? It kind of feels that way. It feels that way to me. 99%. And the same thing with vloggers. 99% of vlogs are fake. I mean, some of them are very obviously fake, so you know that it's being done for entertainment. I'll give you an example. Kid behind the camera. Absolutely scripted, absolutely fake as hell. But he doesn't hide that fact. Nikocado, avocado, or whatever. He's a work. He's fake. I mean, he really does eat all that stuff on camera, but as far as the persona he puts out, it's fake. It's just a character like AVGN. Have you ever listened to a documentary while you worked? No. I don't listen to anything or do anything other than work when I'm working. I'm a master at multitasking, but when it comes to work, 100% of my focus is on work, and my multitasking just goes to completing multiple tasks at once at my job. So when I'm on the clock, I don't play video games, I don't watch movies, I don't watch YouTube videos, I don't surf the internet, I don't do nothing. I work. Seventh, do you think Zelda Wind Waker on the GameCube aged way better than Twilight Princess did on the GameCube? I really don't think anything with the cel-shaded look has aged well. I've never liked that look. I've been seeing a lot of vlogs pop up from small YouTubers venting about life. They sign on to YouTube thinking that they're going to become YouTube millionaires, and it doesn't happen. And so then they get bitter about it because they think, my content's way better than that guy that just sits and talks about other people's videos, and look at all the money he's making. And they get angry about it, and then they start complaining about their life. There are guys on YouTube right now that all they do is sit and watch other people's videos and pause it every now and again to say something so that it's transformative media and they won't get hit with a copyright strike, that have more subs, more views, and make more money than me. I know that I could do the same thing, that I could revamp this channel and just sit and react to other people's videos and make a crap ton of money. But I don't want to do that because that wouldn't be fun for me. The content I make, if I don't have content that I know I'll have fun making, I don't make content. You guys know this. The last videos that I made were Trey for Life, the documentary. I had fun doing that. Once it was over, it was over. I have to do a lot of work off the clock. Yes, Shadow Diaz. I have to do overtime. And I'm salaried, so I don't get paid time and a half for it. The only time I'd listen to the radio was when I had a field job, and I'd listen to the radio driving from one location to the next to do field computer work. That, or I'd listen to books on CD. Ah, yes. Hold on. $2 hours remaining. There has been one $1 donation. 2 hours to go. I bet if I had to do your job for a day, I'd be screwed after 1 second. Is there any way someone who has no background in what you do can slide through one? You'd be lost. First 30 seconds, first work request that came in, you'd be completely clueless. What video game look is your preference? Realistic? No, I don't really have a preference. I just don't really care for the cel-shaded look. All those react to music channels are kind of lame. They get good views, some of them, but hopefully the music publisher gets half that revenue because they'd have no content without it. The ones that amuse me are the black people reacting to white music reaction channels, because what they're doing, and it's very clever, is they are capitalizing on white people's inherent prejudices, because the people that watch their videos the most are the people that watch it because, hey, look, they like our music too. That's what drives it, is, prejudiced white people that think it's that they get some kind of a little ego boost out of the fact that black people like the Beastie Boys or Elvis, and so that's why you'll see this whole plethora of channels of black content creators all reacting to the same white music videos. So you'll see everyone reacting to Elvis singing Unchained Melody, or you'll see all of them reacting to Beastie Boys doing 3 MCs and 1 DJ. You'll have this whole long list of all these black creators that are all reviewing the same white song because the views go through the roof from all the these little repressed, inwardly prejudiced white kids. They're like that think it's so neat that the African American community likes, some of them like our white music. It's crazy, and they don't even realize that mentality is racist. But the black creators making the videos realize it, and they're capitalizing on it. They know all too well who's watching those videos and why they're watching them. It's a whole subgenre, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about it on here before. But it's crazy. I think that's probably one of the biggest growing genres on YouTube right now. When it comes to reaction videos, are black guys and black women reacting to white musical artists. And when one comes up with a white song that really blows up, everyone else in that community reviews the same song. So it just goes, boop, 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 and they all get views. Why? Because white lefties are prejudiced as hell. That's why. You could do well with video essay type videos. If I had the video editing skills, you know what kind of channel I would be? If I had the editing skills, I'd do stuff like Nexpo. Anybody a fan of the YouTube channel Nexpo? Nexpo? That's the kind of stuff I'd do if I had the video editing skills to do it. But I'm not any good at video editing. I'm good at chopping stuff up and creating a narrative, but doing the special effects and all that kind of stuff, I'm horrible at it. I'm not any good at all. Yeah, I figured that even at an entry-level position, of which you're not. Yeah, I haven't been entry-level in like 25 years. When I was thinking about doing videos on YouTube in 2007, I was not thinking about too much money-wise because I just thought of the fun, and if I got money, I figured it would be like $40. Exactly. Oh, give me a second to lean back. My back was bothering me. Thoughts on the NES game Kung Fu? It's very, very basic. Not much of a fan of Kung Fu. I have it. It's sitting on the shelf back there, but I don't like it. What type of content would you want to make that's in demand right now? I don't care about in demand. I just care that it's something I'd have fun talking about. And, I like those kind of narrative, spooky documentary things like what Nexpo does, or Scare Theater or whatever. I like that kind of stuff. And if I had the editing skills, the graphics and effects skills, that's totally what I would be doing right now. Because in some ways, I think the whole gaming thing has become kind of played out. It's like the only gaming channels that are doing really, really big are younger guys like Scott the Woz and that kind of thing. No one cares about the gaming opinions of a 50-year-old man. This question will get parasocially. Am I on remembered status yet, like Ultra Steel? I don't know what you mean by remembered status. I think you skipped a question of mine. Again? Have you listened to music while playing a game, and depending on what you're listening to, had it helped you beat a level? I never listened to music while I was playing games in the 8-bit generation. For some reason, in the 16-bit generation, I would on occasion crank the game audio down and crank some music up, like No Use for a Name, NoFX, Descendants, Ozzy Osbourne, stuff like that. But, well, maybe not No Use for a Name. I don't think they were out or prominent yet when I was in high school, but certainly NoFX and Ozzy and Descendants. But I don't really do that much anymore because music in video games has advanced so much. I don't really feel late. I'm going on 50 Ultra Steel. I told you I don't turn 50 until the end of the year. Did you like Punch Out for the Wii? No, because I don't like Wii controls. Not the parasocial question. A few ways up. Dude, I can't do this all night, man. Every other comment from you is, miss my question. You asked me, have I ever let a video game season pass me by? I answered that question. And then you said that I skipped that question, and I answered it. Then you said, have you listened to music while playing a game? And then you said I skipped that question, so I answered it. Then you asked me, am I on remembered status yet, like Ultra Steel? And I asked you what you meant by that. And you didn't follow up and answer my question. When it comes to music reaction videos, the ones I see are Gen Z and younger generations listening to rock songs from the 90s. I think that's like the official reaction channel, though. You play it with the Wiimote turned horizontally. I don't know that I own it, Bill, but I don't know that I've ever actually sat down and played it. I tended to avoid a lot on the Wii because I just didn't like the control scheme. I played a few things. I beat Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 and a few other things. What's your favorite drinking game? I don't do drinking games. I don't do drinking games. Not my thing. I mean, think about it. I'm on here every Saturday night when I can. I used to drink one single alcoholic soft drink during the 7thCast. Anyone remember what it was I drank? Anybody? I'll give you a couple of seconds to see who's the long-term fans. Long-term fan will know. I'll give you a minute. Let's see if anyone remembers. Yes, I've heard of Fail Army. Which one, Bill? Close enough. Bill's close enough. It was Jack Daniel's Blackjack Cola, which was basically dark cherry Coke. Close enough. I don't have any special ones for that, so I'll just give Bill a dollar bill. There you go, Bill. There's your dollar bill. But once I started having to, once I had to get on a stronger diabetic medication, I stopped drinking those. And now all you see me drink during the 7th cast is unsweetened tea and bottles of water. Yes, Shadow Deist, you got it too. But Bill got it first. That means you had to share the dollar with Bill. Have you played the Evil Within series? I have them both. I'm not a fan of survival horror. That's more 8th's thing. What's my favorite Snobby Doo game? What the hell is Snobby Doo? What do you think about the Microsoft CloudStrike debacle? It just shows you how fragile our infrastructure really is, where one failed update on an app can cause the kind of chaos that caused. It's pathetic. Seventh, have you heard of folklore such as the Thunderbirds? Yes. I'm familiar with the Thunderbirds. Primarily Clean Frame. I remember your name because you're one of the few that actually replies when I post about the 7th cast on Twitter. And every 7th cast, you always tell me that I've failed to answer one of your questions at least 3 times during the chat. That's why I remember you. You're the only one out of maybe Ultra Steel. You, Ultra Steel, and maybe 2 others, like Ben. You're the only ones that actually respond to my Twitter when I talk about the 7th cast. Does 8th like Outlast? He liked it at first, but apparently it got old for him and he lost his interest in it. Oh, my back. My back. I think I liked the tweet today, but yeah, I didn't comment. You see? I throw up all that primo content on Twitter, and most of you don't even partake in it. I tell you. You bunch of ingrates. Irritable bowel syndrome and alcohol are not a good combination. Look who you're telling. Did you try Concord? No, of course not. It's a live service game. Why would I play that? If I was going to play that kind of game, I'd be playing one that everyone actually wants to play, like Overwatch or something. I wouldn't be playing, Sloverwatch. To borrow a joke from Moist Critical. I don't play those type of games, man. I don't like them. I never have. I used to do deathmatch back in, late 90s to early 2000s. I got burnt out on it. I quit it, and I never went back. 7th, I know your son was a fan of Guitar Hero Rock Band, but were you yourself into it or not? The only fun I ever got out of Rock Band was I got Green Day Rock Band, and I could 100% almost every song on that on Expert for vocals, not for guitar, but vocals. In fact, back in the day, I actually posted a couple of videos of me 100%ing Green Day songs on Expert. And all of them got demonetized and pulled off of YouTube for copyright. But some of you who've been watching me for a long time may remember when I did that. I commented on your Saturday routine tweet. That was cool that's what I used to do. When I lived in Jacksonville, I lived in an area called Bay Meadows, and I worked at this great big call center that was up off of Bay Meadows Way that was the size of a college campus. If you live in Jacksonville, you know the one I'm talking about. And so from my apartment complex, I was just 5 minutes south to the biggest mall in the area, 15 minutes from the beach and the best nightclubs in the area, 10 minutes from the best movie theaters in the area. You know, I lived in this primo little spot where everything I could possibly want to do was no more than 15 minutes away from me. I had broken up with my girlfriend before moving to Florida, so I was kind of in a way about that. I wasn't happy about it. And so that's when I went through my whole man whore phase where I was just, taking it home, tapping it, taking them back to their place and moving on to the next. Meet at a bar, go to their place or go to my place, get it on, shake of hands, never see them again, never get their name. Went on for 2 years. But part of my Saturday routine, because I had the weekends off, is I'd get up and I'd walk down the stairs and go to the swimming pool, and I'd swim for about 30 minutes to get some exercise. And then I'd come up, take a quick shower, throw on some clothes, and I'd go to Tinseltown movie theater and see whatever movie was playing, whether it be, The Mummy or The Matrix or whatever the hell. When I got out of there, I'd go down to the Avenues Mall and I'd go to FYE, GameStop, either Barnes & Noble or Borders. I can't remember which one was in there. And Suncoast Video. And I'd buy one new movie, one new music CD, one new video game, one new book. I'd indulge in one new thing out of each of my main hobbies. Then I would leave there, drive down to where Bay Meadows Way dead ended into San Jose Boulevard. I'd take a left onto San Jose Boulevard, and on the left-hand side, there was a retro game store that I can't remember the name of it. It had an orange logo. And I remember they were an actual chain because they had them up in Chattanooga too. When I went back up to Chattanooga to visit, they had one. I want to say they were called Game Shack or Game Cabin. I think it was Game Shack. And I might go in there, but otherwise I'd drive down to the Walmart because right next to the Walmart was another locally owned game store that was called Game Cave. And I'd become friends with the people that owned it. And so when they'd get new releases, they'd let me buy it a day early. And they would just record it the next day so they didn't get in trouble with the distributors. And, if they knew I was a retro collector, so if there was anything that they thought I would want that came in, I'd get a call from them. And so I'd go to Game Cave, see if anything could come in, hang out with them for a little while because they had a couch set up with, the newest consoles where we'd all sit and play. And then I'd come back home, and on the way home, I'd stop at Lee's Dragon Chinese, get me a pepper steak combo, then come back up to the room, my apartment, eat dinner, and then shower again, play some games, shower again, go out for the night if I felt up to it, find somebody else, go do my thing, and then Sunday I would just kind of chill and play video games all day. And that was my weekend for 2 years. Right up until I met Eight's mother. Right up until I met Eight's mother. She approached me. I didn't pursue her. She approached me. No, SWO. There was someone who thought I was a warlock because of something I did in one of my videos. He thought I had magical powers. He was some guy like in Norway or Sweden, somewhere over there. I commented. I saw your pic you uploaded on Twitter where you looked like a biker. I think I liked that. Yeah, that's a very old picture. Ever played Freedom Fighters? A long time ago. I even got a different name on Twitter, and you remember that it's me. That tugs on my heartstring. Seventh, does 8 like Resident Evil? Yes, he likes Resident Evil a lot. Seventh, do you think the Switch 2 will have 2 screens just like the Nintendo DS had? I don't know about that. Show me your red, not show me your ref. Yeah, I don't like the new Green Day stuff either. I mean, their newest album is so-so because it actually sounds like Green Day. But that album they put out before where Billy Joe was singing in like some kind of generic rock star voice, that album sucked. No, there's not a 9th running around anywhere. Yes, one of the women sounded like Mary Poppins. That's one of the things that turned me on about her. She was from the UK, and her father ran some kind of big importing business or something. So she was like, wealthy. And but when she talked, she sounded like Mary Poppins, Julie Andrews. And there was, when you have someone who sounds like Julie Andrews in your bed and they're talking dirty to you, there's something strangely taboo about that, Yep. Did you like the ending to Matrix Revolutions? Not really, no. Samurai Beast Warrior. I never was into the Rolling Stones. Have you heard of Game Golem in North Miami? There was a shooting in the smoke shop 2 doors down a couple months ago, I'm guessing. No, but oh well. P.S. I like pepper steak with some sauce in the rice. No, I haven't heard of Game Golem. I never lived in Miami. I did do some lab installs there when I was a field tech back in the early 2000s. But I never lived there. I remember I always stayed at the same hotel that was right up the street from the airport. I think it was on Lejeune Road or something like that. And the hotel had a Bennigan's in the parking lot. And so I'd go to the Bennigan's and get like chicken fingers for my dinner when I come back to the hotel from doing whatever install I was doing. Chicken lo mein. Eight's mother, the mastermind behind the great game. You're a little bit off. It's the infamous yard sale debacle of 2004. The infamous yard sale debacle of 2004. You were close, though, Bill. You were close. You've been accused of being a warlock, a KKK member, and a biker gang member. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Tokes accused me of being a biker. Black Baron accused me of being a KKK member because I said I didn't like Atlanta, that I didn't like living in Atlanta. And this kid over in Sweden or wherever thought I was a warlock for reasons that he never really could properly explain. Chicken, fried rice, white meat, no egg. Have you ever known any Satanists or occultists in the past? I've known some Wiccans. I've known them in the biblical way, but no Satanists. I doubt Game Golem was there in the late 90s anyway. Yeah, we're talking like when I lived in Florida, it would have been from like 1998 to basically 2007. I lived there from October 1998 to like January of 2007, with one brief 6-month period of 2001 where I was living in south of Atlanta, about half an hour south of Atlanta. Are you listening to any new music? Not really. New music sucks. You already asked me if I liked Kung Fu on NES Ultra Steel, and I told you I didn't like it. I said I have it on my shelf back there, but I don't like it. 7th, I'm building a new gaming PC. I have no idea what I'm doing. Talk to 8th. He can help you out. 8th can tell you what to put in a new PC. You just got to tell him what kind of performance you're looking for, and he'll tell you what equipment to buy, where to put it, what order to install it in, blah, blah, blah. I've built PCs too, but I'm pretty busy. But if you just want to like message 8th, he can tell you. I'm accusing you of being a Delta Force operative. Yeah, I'm not quite in the shape for that. I hate to tell you. I'm not up to specs on that one. What's your favorite Mortal Kombat character? Scorpion. It was the only one I was any good at. 7th, someone thought you were a warlock. You're always bragging about your magic. Well, you don't need warlock powers for my kind of magic powers. No, Rev is not a Navy SEAL. Gen X in his 20s, living in Florida in the 90s. Exactly. The 90s in Florida was kind of like this, the late 60s and 70s everywhere else. There was a lot of free love going on. And I was a 20-something walking around looking like a 5'8" Stone Cold Steve Austin with punk rock tattoos and whatnot. And this was right at the peak of Stone Cold's popularity. It wasn't something that I did on purpose. You know, it just because I wasn't even watching wrestling that much at the time. It's just that, you know, I had long hair and I moved to Florida and I got tired of it being matted and sweaty on the back of my neck, so I shaved all of it off and went pure bald. And, you know, I had a goatee, and I wasn't like built, but I was in shape. And so I had this kind of small little mini Stone Cold / Just Incredible look. And apparently the ladies in Florida found it rather attractive. I don't know what else to tell you. I didn't pursue anybody. I just walk into a club or walk in a bar, order myself a drink, and just stand at the bar, and women would walk up to me. I didn't have to chase anything or anyone. They just walk by and hand me their hotel room, their hotel room number, or a key. They hand me a key to their hotel room. You know, and I wasn't thinking, hey, this person might be trying to steal my kidney. You know, none of that ever occurred to me. Nothing ever occurred to me that, oh, this could be a prostitute and she's trying to entrap me to, get all the money out of me for a pimp. You know, none of that ever occurred to me. And none of that ever happened either. I went up there, we had a good time, never saw each other again. 2 years. 2 years. If it wasn't for the fact that I was very careful about using protection, I probably would have, impregnated at least 25% of the available women in Jacksonville, Florida, between the ages of 20 and 33, because I didn't discriminate with age. 10 years older than me, no problem. If they didn't have a problem with it, I didn't have a problem with it. What's your thought on ASMR? Don't get into that. 7th, I have a question about a question from a question. The question, what's your favorite question? If I could play the Have Mercy on Your Soul clip from Billy Madison right now, I would. I was a 90s kid in Miami. It did not feel like the 60s or 70s. Well, it certainly did to me. Maybe you weren't old enough to be in the clubs that I was in at the time. You know? Maybe you weren't old enough to be getting into the places that I was in. You know, I'm talking about like going to Panama and going to Club La Vila and stuff like that. You know, there was like women DTF everywhere. The only thing you had to be careful about is making sure that they were of age. You had to be careful about that. Although, you know, admittedly back then, someone that was like 21 or 22 getting with someone who was 17 wasn't as big of a thing back then as it is now, because back then a lot of the states 17 was the age of consent. I didn't partake in that, but I'm just saying. Regardless, you had to be careful. You had to be very careful. A lot of girls would show up, you know, in Daytona and Panama, you know, trying to convince you that they're 18, which even, you know, if you're over 21, yeah, 18, no. Let's see here. DKK 50. What is DKK 50? What is that? I don't know. Let's see. That's a Danish krone, which equals $7.29 in U.S. money. Thank you for the $7.29, MLJ. Tell a joke. Tell a joke. A horse walks into the bar. A bartender looks at him and says, "Hey, why the long face?" Oh, I'm not going to stick with that one. Let me think. What's a good one? Maybe I'll try to think of one of the jokes that my dad would tell. I think I've told this one before, but I'll tell it again. Old drunk walks into the bar, walks up to the bartender, and orders a drink. Bartender pours it for him. Guy downs it, but doesn't pay for it. Bartender gets mad. Bartender grabs him and says, "You've got to pay for this drink." And he's like, "Well, just wait a minute. If you let me have that drink for free, I'll show you something you've never seen before." And the bartender says, "Look, I've seen it all. What could you possibly show me?" He says, "I'll get up on this bar and drop trowel, and I'll whistle Dixie out my a-hole." The bartender looks at him and says, "Are you serious?" He says, "I'm serious as a dollar bill." And he says, "Okay, but if you don't make with the act, we're taking you out back and we're kicking your ass." He says, "That's fine." So he gets up on the bar, and he unbuckles his pants and he pulls them down to his ankles, and he turns his butt to face the bartender, and he goes, and craps liquid shit, diarrhea all over the bartender, all over the bar, sprays all over the back mirror, sprays all over the drinks. The bartender is covered in shit, furious, grabs the guy by the lapels, pulls him down off the bar and says, "I'm going to effing kill you. What's the matter with you?" And the bartender, the drunk says, Well, what's the matter with you, man? Even Elvis had to clear his throat. There's your joke. Will we get another project like Trade for Life? I don't really have a topic to do that's similar to Trade for Life. I mean, I have that project that I was talking about earlier, but again, I don't have a way of generating footage I'd need for it. So I'm trying to figure out how to do it. In 2007, I was a 6'2" teenager and still growing, and had women 10 and 20 years older than me looking at me, and looking back, I found it weird. I didn't find it weird. I just found it to be a lot of fun. Because my experience at 23 was that women who were 33 were freaks and would work for it more. Yeah, they were willing to try anything, and they were willing to do anything to keep you around. Yeah, there are parts of Florida that are real dumps. I've lived in a couple of them. Do you ever watch any food review channels? Not a one. Never. It's kind of a time capsule place to me, but there's still much newer houses in Florida because they've developed so much starting in the 90s. I considered going back to Florida when I found out that I was going to have to buy a home. But when I found out what a nightmare homeowners insurance and everything was down there, because I even talked with Solid Rev, I was like, it's possible I could end up being your neighbor. And we actually sat and talked about it a little bit, but once I found out what the nightmares that they were going through with homeowners insurance and flood insurance and roofing and all this, there's no way. No way. Well, I'm sure Jacksonville was a different vibe back in 1998 when I moved there. 7th, gotta say, I think it's, and I'm not saying that what I did was something to be necessarily proud of, but you know, everybody, male and female, gay and straight, black and white, everyone was looking to get laid. I'm just saying. And if you wanted to, you got laid, and you did not have to go and, do anything illegal to get it. 7th, gotta say, it's impressive. You're an ambitious gamer who played millions. Keep scrolling. Played millions while also being socially competent. A lot of gamers can be backward. What's your secret? I was an extrovert. I was the class clown. I didn't fit into any clique, but every clique liked me. And then I became, lead guitarist and lead singer for a punk band, which, that requires you to get used to the idea of performing in front of an audience. Performing in front of one audience isn't really any different from performing in front of another. It just is what it is. Some people can do it and some can't. It's just how it goes. Southern women are the most fun. It's an STD hotbed down there now. It wasn't so bad back then. But again, I was Trojaned up, man. I was safe. Ohio in the early 2000s, especially rural areas, it was like looking at buildings from the 1920s. Now that has changed. I saw a guy get slapped by a pimp where I used to work. Denmark, strong. Dad joke hype. Which of the Golden Girls would you have slept with back in their younger days? Well, obviously Blanche Devereaux. She was the freak. Oh, Richard donating $20 through Super Chat. Hold on a second. Let's see here. Hey, 7th, I know you said you didn't like Pokemon, but can you tell me your view of when Pokemon was crazy in the late 90s? I was like a 10-year-old kid at the time. Pokemon of my life. My first notice of Pokemon was in 1998 or 9. It's either 1998 or 1999. I walked into Game Cave in Jacksonville, and they had like a whole row of Game Boys lined across the counter, and all of them had these little yellow cartridges in them. And I'm like, what's this about? And they're like, oh, it's Pokemon. It's the new big thing. All the kids are playing it. And I was like, what is it? And they were like, well, it's kind of like a turn-based RPG, but it's about collecting a bunch of little monsters. I was like, oh, okay. And they said it's there's a cartoon it's based on, and I was like, oh, all right. Well, what's new out on Dreamcast today? And that was it for me. Magic powers. I never got into Pokemon. They described what it was to me. I looked at some of the screenshots and whatnot, and I was like, nah. Okay, so we owe Richard a dollar bill. Here you go, Richard. Dollar bill. And we owe MLJ a dollar bill, so here you go, MLJ, dollar bill. Thank you for the $20, MLJ. Thank you for the $7.50 or whatever it was in U.S. bucks. Let's see here. Sir, did you play Observer System? No, I did not. Bill Bones, maybe in the next flight. I found it weird. Nice joke. Glad you liked it. That was one of my dad's favorites. I found it weird because I was ugly and still am, but don't cry about it, and they should have realized, although I may have looked older and was taller than my friends, but walking them should have told them. I wonder about those Arizona girls. Do I look handsome to you? No. Y'all have seen pictures of what I looked like in my 20s. I basically looked like this, but I was thin and none of my beard was gray. Didn't matter. I still got that ass. It's not always about facial looks, man. It's about attitude. It's about the confidence that you exude when you walk into a place. Remember, I didn't have pickup lines. I just walked up to the bar and ordered a drink. Eventually someone would come and sit down and start talking to me. And we'd strike up a conversation, and at some point I'd say, you like to have fun? Sure. Would you like to have some fun with me? Sure. Your place or mine? Mine. All right, let's go. That was it. That was all. That was it, and that's all it ever was. Seventh is a good way of gaining muscle, just eating eggs. I can't imagine that would be, but then again, look who you're asking. Do I look like I'm ripped and made of muscle? No. I'm about as over the hill as it gets, son. Is the house ready for a tour yet? Not quite. There's still some stuff that has to be installed upstairs in 8th room that won't get here until like the 23rd or the 24th. That was ordered a long time ago, but it's foreign stuff, so it has to come overseas, and so we've had to wait for it, and it's still waiting to get installed upstairs. And then I've still got to get shelves over there. Still need to get my TV replaced, but that ain't going to happen anytime soon, so I'm not going to wait for that for the review. Still need to get a new multicade, but that's $6,000 that I don't have, so I'm not going to wait for that either. So those two things will be missing when we do the new tour. But it's going to be at least another week. Ever caught the leaves in Shenmue 2? Not that I recall. It's not about facial looks. Well, then you're talking to the wrong girls, Ultra Steel. You're talking to the wrong girls. It was 2007, but I looked like an edgy hillbilly hooligan from 1982. So did I. I had my head shaved with a goatee, wearing sleeveless shirts, so my tattoo showed with denim shorts. Yeah. Are the Star Wars shows any good? Not in my opinion. I'm not big fans of them at all. No, sir. No, sure. Still a little bit short on the shelves goal, by the way. Still short. With this 28.50 that's been donated today, I think there's maybe like $70 left for that, for the shelves. I'm just saying, help if you won't. The sooner I get those shelves, the sooner I can do a game house tour, because that's one of the things I'm waiting on, is to get all the shelves I need. I mean, I don't have enough games to fill up the shelves that I want to get over there, but I don't want that to just be a big blank empty wall either. I want people to understand what's going to be there. So I want to go ahead and have those shelves there before I do the room tour. 7th, I think, and I'm like 70 short on that right now. 7th, I think a lot of guys nowadays should get established and go overseas, because a lot of the ladies, from what I've seen over here in the U.S., are too, what is that, hypergamous? Things were more fair game back then. I never had that problem. That's all I'm saying. I think maybe you should be aiming for slightly older if you're getting these girls that I'm not putting out for anyone except someone who is top 1% of looks and makes six figures. If that's the kind of women that you're talking to the wrong women. I guarantee you there's plenty of fine-looking women out there that don't care about all of that. All they care about is getting off. That's one thing that never changes from generation to generation. You just got to learn to know them when you see them and have the confidence to be able to walk into a place like that, sit down, order a drink, and them want to come to you. Could I have beat Solid Rev in arm wrestling? Absolutely not. He'd kick my ass. Rev is over 6 feet tall. 5'8" has never been this great. He has an incredible size advantage over me. His kid does too. His kid's bigger than me. $5'9" if I'm wearing my boots. Do you know what your game would be the most hours played? No idea. Never really paid a whole lot of attention to that. I don't think I got into Pokemon because I was already in my 20s when it came out. It's as simple as that. The cartoon was for kids. The game looked like it was for kids. It looked like it was, entry-level JRPG. And it just didn't interest me. If it was something that had come around during the NES era, then yeah, I'd probably still be into it. In the early 2000s, I remember a lot of kids having kids, including some people I went to school with, and some that was in my family. Well, yeah, when I went to high school, it wasn't uncommon to see a girl walking around, about to shoot out a baby. I remember I won't give you her last name, but there was a girl named Mindy, and she was like 16, and she got pregnant by this guy. And he ended up dropping out of high school and joining the military. to pay for this baby. And he was not in the country when the baby was born. And I don't know what happened after that. But yeah, and that wasn't even high school. That was middle school. That happened in like 8th grade. She was in 8th grade. So maybe it wasn't even 16. Maybe she was like 15 or something. But she was in 8th grade when that happened. 7th, were you a bushman of the Kalahari? Well, all I can say is that, I have made it through my fair share of bush over the years. Ah, 7th, I get you, though I'm afraid that kind of lifestyle at the bar has passed me since I'm Christian now. Life is strange. Well, I don't go to bars anymore either. And I don't go chasing after wild strange anymore, or letting it chase after me anymore either. I'm just saying that, for someone who wants that lifestyle, it's still out there. Don't let social media fool you. Can I get your personal rankings on the Borderlands games? 2, 1, 3. Thoughts on Grand Theft Auto 3? Not a big fan of the Grand Theft Auto series. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Oh, and by the way, one hour remaining. We have had $28 and some odd cents in donations. We are still $70 away from the new shelves goal. Ha ha ha, you're like Dennis Hopper's character Feck from River's Edge. I vaguely remember that movie. Even in my teen years, I was still watching Ed, Edd and Eddy, which started in 1999, the year I turned 8. In 1999, I was like 23, 24, something like that. Can't remember exactly, but I was in my early 20s. All I remember is because of the kids having kids in the early 2000s, I remember boomers and early Gen X people talking down on us for that, even if we did not have... That's not something that was exclusive to your generation. Like I say, I was Gen X, and there was girls in middle school getting pregnant. It's not anything new. And it wasn't new for the boomers either, but with the boomers, they hid it. They hid it. A girl got pregnant, she'd disappear from the school. During the boomer generation, she'd disappear. You wouldn't see her. Everyone would wonder what happened to her. And then, the baby would be born, and they'd probably give it to an aunt or something and lie about it, about who the real mother was. I mean, boomers were really big on reputation and hiding that stuff. By the time Gen X came out, all it meant was shotgun wedding. You got a girl that was in middle school pregnant. Well, you better get out there, get a job, and marry that girl with the parents' consent, because she wasn't going to get it. She wasn't going to get it aborted. That wasn't happening. Seventh, do you watch Uncle Roger on YouTube? Don't know who that is. If you were a billionaire or a millionaire, what mansion would you buy or dream house? I'd have an exact replica of the Addams Family mansion from the movies built, and that's where I'd live. I mean, obviously cleaner and with modern electronics in it, but that's what I would build. Either that or like an actual livable replica of the Haunted Mansion in Walt Disney World. Just because I'm that kind of nerd. Seventh, you've seen more movies than almost anyone. I loved movies too back when I had more time to watch them. I still watch movies now, every chance I get. Thoughts on 50 Cent? Don't really care much about 50 Cent. I listen to rap and hip hop, but it's I'm very, very selective about what I'll listen to. The new Ghostbusters is coming on Netflix on Monday. I can't wait to watch in my house without kids watching TikTok in front of me. Well, Richard, I hope that you really liked the real Ghostbusters cartoon, because that's what Frozen Empire is. It's a 2-hour live action episode of the real Ghostbusters. Nice dig on Gen Z. I think my mom said when the boomers had that they would leave school to get a job and not talk. Yeah, nobody talked about it. They'd try to hide it, especially if they were churchgoers. Especially if they were churchgoers. They'd hide that stuff. Let me know if you need a lurch. You rang. I can't do my voice deep enough for that. You rang. I can't do it. I can't do it. My voice isn't that deep. Is Gen X less afraid of voicing their real opinion than other gens? I would say so. I mean, we're the generation that invented dozens. Yeah, we invented the Your Mama joke game. Most of the bonding that went on between friends was constantly dissing each other, being trolls in real life. That's the way it was. If you came to school in an ugly shirt, everyone would tell you that is a really ugly shirt. If you had ugly shoes, damn, those are some ugly shoes. There was no, holding it back in my generation. And if somebody bullied you, you either ignored it or you picked a fight. And either you won that fight or you didn't. But you'd have respect for at least standing up for yourself. That's the way it was. Seventh, do you know who Jimmy Dore is? Don't you think he looks like a Peter Venkman if he took off his glasses? Jimmy Dore. I don't think I know who Jimmy Dore is. The Munsters versus the Addams Family. Billy's going to hate me, but I was more of an Addams Family guy. With Sega Channel. No, they had Sega Channel in my generation. You had Sega Channel, and then you had this, I think it was called X-Link or something, that you could plug into your Genesis and hook it up to your cable, your TV cable, and you could download games and stuff. They had it when I was middle school to high school. At Ultra Steel, it wasn't a dig. That's what actually happened to 7th. I guess I missed that part of the conversation. Oh, I see it. New Ghostbusters coming on Netflix. I can't wait to watch. I didn't read the second part. I can't wait to watch in my house without kids watching. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's exactly what happened, and it sucked. That didn't happen when we went to see Twisters. Twisters, it was all adults in there. No kids. No kids. Sir, do you have the BioShock collection on PS4? I do indeed. Casino or Goodfellas? Which do you like better? Goodfellas. I like Casino, but it's not as entertaining. Doesn't have as many funny moments in it. Was the Munsters movie abject dog shit? Yes, it was. Also, you probably can't beat Fred Gwynn for Lurch. I don't. I know he played Herman, but I don't know if I could see him as Lurch. What's your favorite 007 movie? Oh shoot. Probably GoldenEye. And mainly because when GoldenEye came out in the theater, uh, I took my girlfriend to see it, and uh, for some reason that the scene with the chick who liked it rough kind of turned her on while we were watching the movie, and she was like, expressing that on me throughout the whole film. So I have a certain memory set of watching GoldenEye in the theater. I was born in 1991, so I'm a millennial, but I have a mindset of a boomer or a Gen Xer because I grew up in a rural area and did not get a phone until I was 23 and don't use it like a Swiss Army knife. My son is Gen Z. Eighth is Gen Z, but he acts like me, a Gen Xer. I mean, I think he's a little bit more open-minded to some things than I am. And I think that's just because of, the friends that he had in high school and still has. But overall, he's very, very similar to me. And there's more that's Gen X about him than there is Gen Z. Magic powers. Too close to fall for me. I think I may like Casino a little more because it's longer. I think it wore out its welcome a little bit. How did you meet the witch? Oh, the Wiccan. When I worked, remember earlier when I was talking about when I lived in Jacksonville and I worked in a great big call center that was the size of a college campus. She was a night shift security guard there, and I worked in a security locked, soundproof, glass encased command center. And so when she would do her rounds, she would open the door with her key card, ask if I was all right, and then keep on going. And one night I was reading a book at my desk. I don't know if it's Stephen King or whatever. And she was a fan of whoever the author was, and we struck up a conversation. And we just talked more and more and more. And one night she brought me lunch, and we went outside and sat at a picnic table and ate lunch together. And it just kind of progressed from there. And the next thing I know, she's coming over to my apartment, and she gets instantly drunk and starts getting super freaky on me. She was 30 years old, and I was in my early 20s. Then the next thing I know, I go to her place, and she gets her girlfriend involved in it. And so then it's a three-way situation. And that went on for several months. Several months. She was the one I used to talk about who thought she could control the weather. And she'd stand out on my apartment balcony and do her little stuff and point at the clouds and whatnot. And if a lightning bolt struck, she was like, "Do you see what I did there?" Yeah. And I'd be like, yep, you sure did. Now work some of your magic over here. Whatever she wanted to believe, I didn't care. I was getting mine. Quite abundantly, I might add. No Time to Die. Do I like home as... Lurch talked a little bit. I mean, he said, "You rang." Yeah, I like Home Alone. I like Home Alone 2. Didn't like any others besides that, though. The World Is Not Enough. I'm sticking with GoldenEye. Sorry. GoldenEye for me. Now, as far as like the Roger Moore era, The Spy Who Loved Me. Not even close. Do you think that Back to the Future should have been a standalone film? I thought the third one was garbage and broke too many time travel rules. I don't think that time travel rules is something that you should worry about too much when you're watching a series like Back to the Future. You know, it's not you're not watching like high science fiction. You're watching a Robert Zemeckis comedy. Relax. James Bond versus Batman. Batman. Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, would just wait until James was having one of his dalliances with a Bond girl and then take him out. Because that would be Bond's weakness. Poontang. I don't use voice AI on my phone, Clean Frame. Would you consider yourself to have a small ego? I have confidence, but I wouldn't say that I'm an egomaniac. I know how to act like an egomaniac, but I'm about as far away from one as you can get. But at the same time, I'm not an introvert that's got a lot of hang-ups and anxieties and insecurities and whatnot. I just am what I am. I am 7th. Hear me meh. You and 8th are the same amount of tech savvy, right? I would say I know how to do a lot of things that he doesn't know how to do, and he knows how to do some things that I don't know how to do. Could he walk into my place of employment and do my job? No. Even growing up, I had Gen X women on my wall in my room like Shannon, Elizabeth, and Trish. Wow, 7th, your body count must be crazy. You know, it was on up there. It was on up there. I laid a lot of pipe in those 2 years. Home Alone is my favorite Christmas movie, I think. What's your favorite sci-fi film? As in from Sci-Fi Channel or just regular sci-fi? Because if it's just regular sci-fi, oh Lord, I don't know. Because I don't really watch a lot of hard sci-fi stuff. If you're talking about movies that were made for the Sci-Fi Channel, just any of the god-awful crap that's made by the Asylum, take your pick. 7th, what's some solid advice that your father gave you, and how has it helped you during confrontations in real life? Well, you guys already know most of the advice that my dad ever gave me. And probably the most useful piece of advice he ever gave me was those who don't listen have to feel. Have you ever given first aid to someone while working at an amusement park? That's highly specific. No, because I never worked at an amusement park. I worked for the Walt Disney Travel Company, but I didn't actually work in Walt Disney World. There have been situations when I happened to be at the park and a medical emergency happened and I helped facilitate getting EMTs to that person, but not performing any kind of first aid myself. Seventh, what are you talking about body count? You a serial killer? They're talking about how many women I've slept with. Don't be dense. You know what he meant. Do you like Fringe? Jordan Fringe or the TV show Fringe? Yes to both. Have I ever performed CPR? No, never had to do that. Well, no, that's wrong. I did have to perform CPR once on a friend of mine who was, she was a platonic friend, not a girlfriend. And she wanted to take me to Nashville, Tennessee to celebrate my 21st birthday. And she had an epileptic seizure and stopped breathing on me. And I had to keep her breathing until the EMTs got there. So, yes, I have performed CPR once in my life. Just the one time. And yes, she is still alive. No, we never hooked up. She is now married with multiple kids over in Georgia somewhere in her 40s. Is Big Bang Theory getting more hate than usual recently? Not that I've noticed. The Riddick movies are okay. Just wish Vin Diesel would have done more of that instead of Fast. Yeah, I would have. I would have preferred that they continued on with the whole Chronicles of Riddick thing, instead of just him winning all of that and then being like, "Yeah, I don't want to rule this. I'm giving it all to Vaco. I'm getting the hell out of here." That just, to me, that was just, we don't have the budget to continue this, so we're just gonna end that story really fast so we can go back to Monster of the Week low budget film. I liked the original Outer Limits. I haven't liked any of their attempted reboots. 7th, did you have to do? Yes, I did. Yes, it was the same girl where I had to, once I got her breathing, she kept seizing back up, and I was afraid she was going to bite her own tongue off or swallow her tongue. And I put my knuckle like this in between her teeth to keep her from damaging herself. Because we're talking grand mal seizure. It was rough. And I still have scars on this hand from it. Yeah, I just had to cram it in there, and so I've got some scars around this area, the little teeth marks. That was in December of 1995. The Riddick games were interesting. They had a little bit too much stealth for my taste, but yeah, they were pretty interesting. I hear CPR mouth to mouth is not done that way. I don't know how it's done now, but you know, I mean, you pinch their nose, tilt their head back, and you didn't do it in just one long like you see in the movies. You do it in quick succession. That was the way I was trained to do it when I took the classes. Are you familiar with Snark Tank or the Sacred Symbols? No, I'm not. Do you like seafood? I cannot stand seafood. I don't like fish. I don't like, shrimp, lobster, crab, none of that. Don't like the taste of it. Don't like the texture of it. But I can eat a peach for hours. Do you and 8th have the same blood type? I don't think so. I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I don't think so. I think he got his mother's blood type. I could be wrong. I saw Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick, and they were okay, and I played the game Escape from Butcher Bay, but not Dark Athena, which I heard was kind of phoned in. Dark Athena didn't have as good of a story as Escape from Butcher Bay, but I do think its gameplay overall was improved over Butcher Bay. 7th, did 8th buy his own? Well, he built his own custom computer. He bought the parts that he wanted and he built it. He did some research based on the performance that he wanted. He went out, ordered all the parts. The parts were shipped here. He assembled it, installed all the software. He did it all himself. We got a half hour left, folks. Got a half hour left. Get your questions in. Still $70 short of the new shelf goal. Don't you ever worry that if his PC breaks down, there will be no warranties to cover him? No. He has individual warranties on each individual piece, and he upgrades like every 2 years, so he never has any of it long enough to worry about it failing on him. Where's 8th at now? He's upstairs somewhere doing something. Playing a video game or watching something. What is your own blood type? Is it unique? If I remember right, it's AB positive. I don't remember. I think it's AB positive, but I'm not sure. There's nothing I hate more, Soul Drift, than walking into a Chinese restaurant and getting assaulted with the smell of seafood. Seafood that's been sitting in the buffet under the hot lights for a while. No, thank you. Does 8th still play his VR2? Yes. Seventh, thoughts on the horror flick It Follows. I didn't think it was all that great compared to what other people seem to think of it. It didn't really do anything for me. Because it was a message movie. You know, a commentary on sexually transmitted diseases. Just didn't do anything for me. Nope. Yes, well, 8th didn't buy the Shadow of the Erdtree edition with the statue. A friend of his bought it for him as a gift, and so he has the statue sitting up there on his shelves. When we finally do the new house tour, you'll see it. You'll see it. I think the Crow remake looks like garbage. I'm not in any rush to see it. If 8th wants to see it, I'll take him to see it, but are you right or left-handed? I'm right-handed. 7th, do you think back in old medieval times that people got tortured in creative, scary ways? What's the most uncomforting torture method that you've heard of? Slowly crushing people under successfully heavy stones. They'd lay one stone on them, let them suffer it a bit, lay another one on until they're smushed. Did you like the film Dead Silence? There were some things I liked about it, but at the same time, I thought the whole premise was pretty stupid. I'll get you again with one of my jokes, I swear, 7th. Yeah, but your jokes don't work clean frame because it's always like trying to get me to repeat something. And anytime you're trying to get me to say something, I'm not going to fall for that. At least it's not death by mopery. I remember in the Grudge when I went to see The Grudge at the theater, it was the first time in a long time where I'd gotten a legitimate creepy vibe from watching a movie. And I haven't really experienced that since. And I've seen, Hereditary and all the new age horror movies that are supposed to be legitimately scary. You know what? The first half of Insidious gave me a creepy vibe. Once they were actually walking around in the further, which was just a dark room, a dark studio with the lights turned off and a fog machine. The first half of Insidious gave me a creepy vibe. But that's been the last one. None of the Conjuring movies gave me a creepy vibe. I like them. I think they're fun, but they're not scary. Seventh, do you think the internet exposed certain parts of the human mind? They're always there but not shown. Especially with opinions, pride, No. No, I don't think it's a hidden part of the mind. It's parts of that everyone's always known was there. It's just more readily and more easily accessible with less consequence, less social consequence. And now that pendulum is swinging the other way, where they're trying to have massive consequence for everything. So, yeah. Bruce Lee's son did the original, and that was his last performance because he was right. Who was the first credited internet troll? I want to say it was some guy that was he was in either MIT or Caltech, I think. I can't remember his name, but he founded like the first trolling group, whose name I can't remember either. It wasn't Cult of the Dead Cow. It was some other group before them. No, Insidious 2 had the same cast as Insidious 1. And then after that, up until the most recent one, the Insidious movies were they were flashback movies about the psychic lady from the first one. When the next Mass Effect game releases, what do you think? How will the game start, and how do you think it will end? I have no idea. Yeah, I haven't been legitimately scared by a horror movie in a long time. Which had creepier moments, The Grudge or Dead Silence? The Grudge. Have you ever heard of Sliders? Yes. I remember Sliders. I wasn't a fan of that show, but I remember it. It was basically like, it was almost like a rip-off of Quantum Leap. Only instead of leaping into different people, they were just leaping into parallel dimensions. The Simpsons should have ended a long time ago. My favorite comic book was Ghost Rider. Did you see the N7 Day teaser? I don't know if I did or not, Blaze. I watch a lot of trailers. I can't really say. Did you like the Ring films? I liked the first one. The rest of them were trash. Did I finally see Godzilla vs. Kong New Empire? Yes, I did. Once it hit HBO, I watched it on HBO. It was alright. It was fun. It was okay. Not the best Godzilla movie I've seen. Certainly not the worst. If you could choose another musical instrument to learn besides electric guitar, what would it be? Drums. I mean, I know some drumming from my father, but he never did let me take full lessons for it to get proficient at it. So, that's something that's on my bucket list that I'll probably never actually do because I'm so out of shape, and you have to really be in shape to be a good drummer, in my opinion. And I just don't have the money or the space for a drum kit. And I don't have the time or the money to pay for lessons and to go take lessons. So that's probably never going to happen. But if I could pick any instrument, it would be the drums. The cabin laughing scene from Evil Dead 2 was impressive. Yes, it was. 7th, if I remember right, didn't you like the new Planet of the Apes film that just came out? Is it really good? Well, it was fun. I wouldn't say it was really good. I mean, if you liked the previous 3 films in that series, you would like this one. But, it's not going to set the world on fire. It's at least as good as the others in that series. For the sake of discussion, if you were to sell your game collection, how would you go about it? I would make a video saying that I intended to sell my entire collection to one buyer because I'm not going to go to the trouble of selling it piecemeal on eBay, and see if someone like Phoenix Resale or Retro Rick wants to come down here and look at it and make me an offer. If I was going to do it. Either that, or I would start renting tables at Retropalooza and just keep selling it table by table until it was all gone. If I was going to sell it, which I'm not. Ultra Steel, I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't even a fan of the original Planet of the Apes series. I just don't like the concept. For me, they're kind of boring. I can't explain why, they just are. What was your favorite decade of your life? Probably late 90s. Mid to late 90s. I mean, sure, I had fun in the 80s as a teenager, or a kid and as a teenager, going into my teenagehood in 89. But overall, I would say mid to late 90s. That first 2 years of living on my own, in my own place. Those are 3 years. 98 to 2000. Those 3 years. I mean, I would love to say that my favorite years of my life were, being a dad to 8th, but the first 5 years of that were not pleasant because of his mother. Best video game to play while on the toilet. Final Fantasy Tactics on the PSP. Seventh, why do you like that slow, boring film, Land of the Dead? Well, I didn't say I loved it. I just said that I enjoyed it. I enjoy a lot of things that I wouldn't consider a good movie. Yeah, it is hard to sell an entire collection at one. Dark Star Angel donated $5, and the game you enjoyed the most but was the hardest of those games. The game you enjoyed the most but was the hardest of those games. The original Ninja Gaiden on NES. Although technically Ninja Gaiden 3 is a much harder game. However, I never played Ninja Gaiden 3 because by the time it came out, I had moved on to the Genesis. Thank you for the $5. Darkstar, you get a dollar bill, y'all. If I can get it to come up there. There we go. Dollar bill for Darkstar. Thank you, sir. That puts us up to $33 and $65 left to cover the cost of the shelves. So we got $65 left to get to the goal. What's your favorite video game genre? RPG. Anything that's open world where I can run around and explore and find stuff. Did I like the Tom Savini Night of the Living Dead remake? The one that came out in like 1991? Yeah, it was alright. 7th, I saw that movie Grizzly Man that you recommended many streams ago. It's a pretty good documentary about a man being obsessed with bears. Beautiful, scary creature. Yeah. Yep. The best restaurant you've ever went to? I think my favorite restaurant of all time would be Le Cellier at Epcot. That's the best steak I've ever had. What is the easiest game you have ever played? Easiest. Probably one of the Lego games. I'd never found any of those especially challenging. Or one of the Disney games that I helped 8th play when he was a kid. I knew it was 1990 or 91, Bill. I just wasn't sure which. 7th, ever watched Backcountry, the film with the bear? No, I don't believe I have. Did you try Armored Core 6? No, but 8th did. But he played it on PC, not on console. 7th, did you like the Blues Brothers? I liked the original Blues Brothers, not Blues Brothers 2000. That movie was doo-doo. Ever played John Woo Presents Stranglehold? Yeah, but I didn't get that far in it because it came out before PlayStation 3 had trophies, and I don't think they ever added it to them after the fact. Probably should have played it on Xbox 360 instead. Golden Dragon Buffet. Okay. Can you tell us all of the FromSoft games that you beat? Well, considering the fact that I'm not a fan of Souls-like, I haven't really played that many. I think the only one that comes off the top of my head that I beat was 2. I beat Evergrace on PS2, which took forever because that game sucked, but it was the only RPG out on the system at the time. And I beat Bloodborne. Have you ever been an extra in a movie? Yeah, I was an extra in Adventures in Game Chasing. Well, I wouldn't say it was an extra. I had a cameo in Adventures in Game Chasing. So, yes, I have been in a movie. Shinobi versus Strider versus Ryu Hayabusa. Well, as a character, my favorite would be Strider, but as far as who could win, I'd say Ryu Hayabusa. 7th, what's the worst sequel you've ever seen? ActRaiser 2. Movie sequel? Probably Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. You can't stop thinking about Chinese buffets. Well, maybe you should get off the stream and go buy you some Chinese. We only got 15 minutes left anyway. Which action movie got you pumped up during fight scenes? I can remember getting pumped up during the original Karate Kid when my dad took me to see it at the theater. Favorite PlayStation property? Probably the first 3 Uncharted games. How much? They didn't pay me anything. They didn't pay me anything. I got paid in And like, I didn't even get a free copy of the movie. I had to pay for my copy of the movie. It was a very, very low budget thing. It was more just they wanted their friends in the movie. And so, Billy wrote me a little cameo part to be in the movie. It's almost 10 p.m. in Ohio. So what? There's probably a Chinese place open somewhere. Which is worse, Superman 4 or Batman? Superman 4. Where can I find the scene of you and the Game Chasers? Go watch Adventures in Game Chasing. It's on Tubi. If you've got Tubi, you can go watch it. I'm in it for 10 seconds. Favorite Jackie Chan movie? Probably Rumble in the Bronx. Seventh, do you like the Ace Ventura films? I saw both of them at the theater. Redneck Hick 7th. You're not wrong. I think the name of my character in that movie was Ray McLowball. If I remember right. That was what they named my character in the credits, was Ray McLowball or something like that. Have you ever been visited another country for a vacation? I've never been out of the country, period. I don't think Batman and Robin was worse because Batman and Robin had better special effects and better production quality, and it had a better villain. Nuclear Man was a joke. At least Arnold was fun to watch, and Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy was fun to watch. Don't you got another film coming up? No. I mean, if the Game Chasers make another movie, if they want me to play a cameo in it, I'll be happy to drive up there and do it. But I currently don't have anything lined up or anything. No, nothing lined up. No. 10 minutes left, folks. 10 minutes left. $65 short of the new shelf goal. You're a good friend. I try to be. Did you like the recent Garfield? Didn't watch it. Did you ever watch the Undisputed or Universal Soldier movies? I've seen the first two Universal Soldier movies. I really liked the first one. The second one with Goldberg was garbage, and I didn't bother to watch any of the others. The first one was good, though. Shell Shock Nam 67. Okay. Seventh, would you ever be down for voice acting? Absolutely. What characters would you like to voice? Don't care. Just so long as it's something I can actually do. I mean, my voice talents are somewhat limited, don't you know? Shame those guys won't put you up for a couple of nights at their Retropalooza. They did that for me one time. And I don't bring anything new to the table. I don't have an audience that's going to make them any money by advertising, come see 7th Level at Retropalooza. Nobody cares. Whenever I go to Retropalooza, I sit at their table with them, help them mind the store or whatever, and I might get 3 people that walk up and know who I am. I sign 2 or 3 autographs every time I go, but I don't make them any money. So why would they pay for me to have a hotel? Why would they pay for me to be a guest and have a panel that nobody's going to go watch because nobody knows who I am? How do you shave your beard? Old-fashioned or electric? Electric. Have I ever played Mercenary? Yes. And Mercenaries 2. S-paying job. Who wouldn't want it? 7th, how do you miss the crumb side? No! 7th, are you able to do fake laughs pretty effectively? I would assume so. I mean, I did plenty of fake laughs during my YouTube career. All you have to do is think about something that you legitimately find funny. Do I have a favorite Chinese buffet? No, I don't have a favorite Chinese buffet. I don't really do the buffets because I don't trust how long the food has been out. I go to a place where, it's made to order. What was the worst, least favorite job that you worked at? Telemarketer. Absolutely god-awful. I lasted 1 day. It's all I could take. Selling coupon books. I lasted 1 day. Well, you don't really know what... I would assume since you've been watching me for a long time that you've heard my fake laugh, but how do you know which one was the fake and which one was not? How do you know which one I'm actually talking about? 7th, how's the temperature over there in your area right now? It's up in the 90s. Didn't the crumb side last? I don't know how long the crumb side lasted. I didn't stay around in it that long because it sucked. What's your favorite pizza toppings? I like a meat lovers, like at Pizza Hut, pepperoni, ground beef, bacon, pork. Couldn't stand being on the phone all day. Well, it's not a matter of being on the phone. It's that when you're doing telemarketing, you're calling people who aren't expecting a call and trying to talk them into buying something by reading a script to them. And I lasted 2 hours in there, and then I was like, I don't need a job this bad, and I got up and walked out. I didn't even try to get paid for the 2 hours I was there. Have you tried Chinese fried noodles? I've had Chinese fried noodles a long time ago. My favorite is pepper steak. Pepper steak with fried rice and egg rolls. Do you think the definition of an Xbox is canon? I don't know about canon. It was certainly an entertaining video for how stupid it was, but I wouldn't call it canon. Inbound customer service, Bill, I could do that all day. I was excellent at that back in the day when I was first getting started. Yeah, I'm not doing a where are they now crumb side because most of them are still around doing the same shit that they were doing before. What's the point? Is the show extended? No, the show is not extended. You've got 5 minutes. What did I say? There's $65 away from the goal. If somebody donated $65 where that finished out the money needed for the shelves, sure, I'd stay another hour. I give you 1 more hour. I can't do this 8-hour crap that I used to do back in the day. I can't do it. I literally get sick trying to do that now. Who's better with a gun, you or Solid Rev? Probably Solid Rev because he probably spends more time at the range than I have over the last several years. I've kind of gotten out of practice with that. Favorite donut? The powder-covered vanilla cream-filled donut at Dunkin' Donuts. I don't like any kind of Pop-Tart, so I have no favorite. Remember Stone Fox Media? Vaguely. I feel 3 hours of 7th is pretty monstrous. Yeah, but I used to do, if $100 got donated, I'd do 6 hours. I can't do that no more. And I've done over 8 hours before. I can't do that no more. That time that I got like $400 and something worth of donations in one night, that was like an 8.5 hour stream. What FPS had the worst gunplay? Probably that Fall of Liberty, that turn whatever Fall of Liberty. That or Legendary. That one was pretty awful too. Oh, Chinese Donuts, yeah. How long have you been on now, 7th? We got 3 minutes left. See you in a future one. Okay. Solid Rev is not an FBI agent. I know what he does. That's not what he does. 6 hours is fierce. Yeah, it'd tear me up. 8.5 nearly killed me, but I felt it was owed because there was over $400 in donations. Do you appear in the beginning or the middle? I think it's within the first half hour of the movie, Blaze. I'm in a commercial. The commercial comes on the TV about me, and I'm the host of a show. I would think if they were going to release the PS5 Pro, we would have heard about something about it by now, Clean Frame, especially if it was coming out this year. So I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm not convinced. How did the Italian chef die? He passed away. That's a dad joke, all right, Soul Drift. That's a dad joke. Dunkin' Donuts versus Crispite Cream. I think you meant Krispy Kreme. I think Krispy Kreme's regular generic donut is more addictive, but I think Dunkin's variety is better, especially their cream filled. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to talk much about the PS5 Pro because there's 2 minutes left and no one has donated $65. So perhaps that's something y'all could ask me about next week. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're headed towards August real fast now, Bill. I seriously doubt late September. And yes, I will go see the new Beetlejuice because 8th wants to see it. Otherwise, I would wait for it to come out digital. I would wait for it to come out digital. Looks like everybody's just giving up now. That tracks. I understand it. Everybody dropping out. I get it. Even though technically y'all had, 60 seconds left. That's all right, though. I don't like the Bavarian cream. I like the vanilla cream. Anyway, it's 9 o'clock. And we didn't hit that last $65, so this is where I'm going to depart. I appreciate everyone who donated, and I appreciate everyone who just came to hang out. If you could, before you drop out, and you haven't already, hit me a like on there. At this point, I don't know how much help that would give, but, it's worth a shot. Anyway, I will endeavor. I don't know if I'm going to be here next week or not because it's my on-call week, and so, I don't know if I'd want to risk trying to stream 3 hours and my company phone going off asking me to get off of there to fix something. I don't know if it's worth it, but we'll see. If I do show up, it'll be next Saturday, same 7th time, same 7th.